Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 Knockdown Rule is back. I'm Steve Kim, joined by our King of the North, Mario Lopez.
Hey, first of all, I learned this because somebody corrected it. It's King in the North.
Oh.
It keeps saying, well, you want to say King of the North, right? But it's in the North. Thank you very much. Well, my Sansa Stark on the ones and twos.
I've never seen the show, so I'm not sure what that means.
I should have said my Tyrion, Buffalo Knuckles over there.
There's a lot to talk about, a jam-packed show. So let's get this started. Round number 1, Friday night, Staples Center on the Plus. Still, the WBA and WBO lightweight titleist Vasyl Lomachenko knocking out Anthony Toyota Corolla in 4 rounds as expected. Mario Lomachenko, as Chris Rock said, did what he's supposed to. But, you know, when you have a guy that's a cut below you, you have an obligation, in my view, to just get him out of there and make a statement. And Lomachenko has really developed into a complete, consummate professional prize fighter.
Yeah, you should make a statement. Too often, that's not always the case. Man, I was going to say over-delivered, but he really has continued to improve, and that's saying something because he's about as fundamentally sound as a fighter can be. And the thing about Lomachenko is he gets it in that it's not just winning, it's how you look in winning, because he clearly has the skill set to stay on the outside, box, keep it ugly, if you will, and just kind of stink out the joint with a points win. But now he knows that his market value, his brand awareness keeps climbing because he's putting out such impressive performances. He's outboxing these guys and not just breaking their spirits, but this last one, he really, with the shoulder, looked healthy now, beating them up. Those combinations and that thudding right hook at the end, ooh, it was just a thing of beauty. What was weird is Corolla looked beat up halfway through round 1. His face already looked like it was sunburnt, getting peppered with those punches. But, I mean, we've talked already about the footwork and the hand speed, but the combinations come so fast and furious, and they're so incredibly accurate, and he looks strong at that weight class. I don't know if he continues to climb, which I know he doesn't want to, if that power would translate a la Pacquiao, but where he's at, man, it's going to take something real special to stop that. And that was a tough guy. It wasn't like, yes, he is a tier below, but isn't everyone essentially, aside from maybe a couple other people? That was a tough guy, and he disposed of him, I should say, quickly.
A Corolla is solid, and look, he's never been blown out like that.
Right.
Sometimes the way you do it is just as big as if you do it. And Lomachenko, he's always floated like a butterfly. Now he stings like a bee. And look, he had a bit of a knuckle issue. His right hand was feared to be broken. They went to the doctor, took an MRI on Saturday. According to Aegis Klimas, the manager, it's a dislocated knuckle. They put it back into place. His hand is in a cast. He'll be out anywhere from about a month to about 6 weeks. It will not curtail his schedule. They expect him to be back in September. Now, Bob Arum, this is one of the great traditions, who was a great in-studio guest once again last week. After every fight, he saunters over to press row, and he just basically delivers a State of the Union address. And this is the exchange that I had with him in regards to Vasyl Lomachenko and where does Teofimo Lopez play in his future.
Well, we're going to see. A lot of possibility. Something depends on Garcia. If Garcia is going to be at 135, we'll try to make that fight. Everybody would want to see it. If Garcia goes up in weight, then maybe the WBC. Luke Campbell is the #1 guy. Loma would love to go to England to fight Campbell.
Now, what about Comey? Is he?
Well, if that doesn't work out, Comey. What I would like for Teofimo Lopez, if he beats the rated guy that he's fighting, to fight for the world title against Comey. What I envision, what I hope, is Loma with 3 world titles, Lopez with 1, in one of the biggest unification matches ever.
And it's very clear. They have a lot of plans. Lomachenko only wants big fights, title fights, unification bouts. From what you saw, Mario, and again, taking aside the opponent, but looking at where this guy is in 2019, between 130 and 135, does anyone beat this guy?
I used to think that Mikey Garcia would be the big favorite going into the fight. I thought that even though he's not as fast, he's still a little stronger. The timing, his experience, he himself is a boxing savant, and he would figure out that puzzle eventually and get to him. I used to think, no, very, very confident about that. Now, granted, I know Spence is twice his size practically, but the thing about with the Spence fight, though, that sort of opened my eyes was the speed looked like it really bothered Mikey, and Loma's got that in spades. And now Mikey took some great shots, and Loma's punching power might look like he's just little BB gun pellets now, and he might walk through them, and he might be able to close that distance rather quickly. And I still think he's got more pop in his punch, but now I think it's more of a 50-50 toss-up fight. I do, as opposed to where I was heavily favoring Mikey, but now I think it's like I think it's down to a pick'em fight. So Garcia still, I think, is his biggest threat. But I think eventually I'm still interested in a Teofimo Lopez, even though I still think it's too young, too soon for that fight, and even a Tank Davis. That's about the three that I think make it very, very interesting for Loma. Outside of that, I don't see anyone posing a serious threat. Do you?
No, I really don't. And the one thing about Lomachenko, I've never been that close to the action in a Lomachenko fight. I've always been ringside. But seeing him really about 15 feet away
impressive.
I mean, his array of foot feints, shoulder feints, the combinations, and his feet seem to hover above the canvas, and he's never at the same distances, and he's always coming at you from different angles, and the punches, you don't even see a lot of them.
Well, what you described, too, was a young Pacquiao, too, right? A young Pacquiao.
But more elusive. Defensively, harder to find than Pacquiao. Pacquiao ran into a lot of right hands. Lomachenko does not run into a lot of anything.
I think, fair point. But I think as far as the foot speed and the angles and the punches in bunches, Pacquiao, I think Lomachenko, yes, defensively a little bit more sound, and or a lot more sound for that matter, but also the combinations I think are a little prettier and a little crisper. One thing he doesn't have like Pacquiao is the heavy hands and the power, which is a big, because I was playing a mythical matchup in my mind, and I think I might still want to favor Pacquiao just because of the heavy hands.
Yeah, and I do think Lomachenko, based on how he punched through Corolla, who again, for the most part, has been solid,
durable guy.
He's grown into 135. And look, he's made it very
clear.
That's
his ceiling, though.
That I am not a 35-pounder. I'm probably really a featherweight who would be very comfortable at 130. But I think you saw, even against Pedraza, even though he may have been one-shouldered, look, there's a weight threshold for every fighter. I remember when Roman Gonzalez fought Carlos Cuadras at 115. I got the distinct sense on that night at the Forum. I said, a loss is going to come soon because he's an older fighter going up 4 weight classes. Everybody has a ceiling, but Lomachenko right now, he's as good as it gets in boxing. He really has.
It's really hard to imagine anything else. And yeah, he, in thinking back to the Salido fight, which was probably the best thing that could happen to him, just to kind of keep him humble and to keep him working hard, go up against his grizzled veteran who is nasty and tough and really kind of make him rethink everything. He's continued to even get better and better and become a showman on top of just winning his
For all those
fights.
people that keep harping on the Salido loss, first of all, that was his second fight, and there's some variables. Salido didn't make weight, hit him with like 50 low blows, and by the end of the night, Salido was reeling. And putting all that aside, the third fight, I think very highly of Gary Russell. He might still be the best featherweight in the world today. Fast, quick, southpaw, great technical tools.
Made him look like an amateur.
Mastered him.
Unbelievable.
Mastered him.
But I think if outside of countering him like a Mikey Garcia, if you get that timing right, if you're able to figure that out, outside of being a caliber of fighter like Garcia to be able to execute that sort of game plan, I think the style that would eventually give him some fits, or maybe he could even beat him, would be someone that effectively gets inside, makes it nasty, is able to pound like a Salido and makes that sort of fight. Other than that, you're not going to win a fight on the outside. You're not going to outbox this guy
and
at all.
What's impressive is
I don't care how fast you are.
13-1 as a pro, 10 knockouts, and I read somewhere that out of his 14 opponents, like 10 or 11 have had some sort of version of a world title. So that is the classic case of quantity and quality. Yeah. And Vasyl Lomachenko seems to be right at his physical apex. Mario, light heavyweight debut for Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, stopping Tommy Karpency in 4, upping his record to 40-0, scoring his 28th stoppage. Mario, here's the thing about Ramirez. Technically sound, he's a very good fighter, but he's one of these guys, he doesn't have that second, third, fourth gear, doesn't have that real power. So there are certain fighters that I call Anita Baker or Whitney Houston. They could do a one-man or one-woman performance. They're a concert, like Golovkin, when he'd face a Dominic Wade, would get guys out of there in a spectacular fashion where he said, wow, I got to see something like really entertaining. Ramirez is not that guy. Like, he needs a dance partner because by himself, he just doesn't create a lot of entertainment value.
You would think with all the intangibles, tall, dark, good-looking kid, Mexican, southpaw, at the weight class that he's at, because you don't see too many, and he is solid, and his record's impressive as far as the sheer numbers, right? But yeah, I see what you mean.
Methodical, isn't it?
Yeah, I think methodical. It's been effective so far. That's why I really want to see, because I don't think he's going back down. I know Bob said that he may, and maybe he starves himself for the one potential big money fight with Callum Smith. But other than that, I really want to see him against any of the champions, because any of them, I don't care, Bivol, any of those four. I wanted to talk about it for a second. Who, if you're facing, if you're given choice to face any of those champions, who would you think he has the best chance to get the title from? Beterbiev?
I think Beterbiev is very rusty. I mean, honestly, he has not had a lot of activity. And the one thing you could say about Ramirez, he is sound. Look, let's look at the politics. You have to. And who's involved with which platform and which promotional outfit. Of course, I was just playing, yes. You got Kovalev, Beterbiev, and the nail, Alexander Gavozic. Out of those three.
And Bivol.
Bivol's on the zone, so leave
no,
him
but
out.
Okay. I was thinking, okay, fine.
I would go with Beterbiev. I would, but I do wonder about Ramirez. Does he have the overall power and strength to hold off these big 175-pounders? But it's come to a point
no, he's a big dude.
Ramirez can win every round on a fight. And it's like, it reminds me of that guy when you're in a rush. You got to take your kids to school or you got an appointment, and you're going down the freeway and there's not a lot of traffic. And you're going down, and all of a sudden there's that one car that's just going 55. And he won't get out of the way. He's just going 55 the whole time, and you're like, get to the fast lane, speed up, or get off the freeway, and it's just 55. He's 55. The whole doggone time. And, like, when Carpente's corner waved off the fight, I'm not going to lie to you, all of us on press row were like, whew, we'd have to go through 8 more rounds of that. It's not fair, but it is what it is.
No, it is what it is, especially on the heels of that, you got to see Lomachenko, so you see the stark contrast.
Right. I mean, they're both early round knockouts, but no one was saying, hey, Zurdo. No, we're all saying, wow, Loma.
Of course. Yeah, all right, so Beterbiev makes sense, but I know Bivol's on DAZN, but he is the smaller of those.
Yeah.
And so if there were no politics, I don't know. I still think Beterbiev. I think Bivol with the speed gives him a lot of fits.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, but talking to Julian Chua, who's the new trainer of Ramirez, after the fight, he said, Steve, he had no problems making weight. At 68, it was a grind. And he goes, Steve, all the dance partners are at light heavyweight. And moving on, it was Saturday Night Fever from Monterrey, Mexico. We enter the zone, and the WBO 154-pound title is retained in controversial fashion by Jaime Munguia, winning a 12-round decision against the hero, Dennis Hogan. Your scores, 115, 113, 116, 112, and 114, 114. Mario, you know me. I'm the biggest advocate of the Baja Wrecking Ball. But it was Christmas. He got a gift.
Listen, come on, Viva Tijuana. I'm a huge fan and supporter too.
But
I was very frustrated with the outcome, and I got to be honest with you. I'm thinking 115, 113, Hogan.
That was my score.
Oh man, and now here's the thing. You knew he wasn't going to get a fair shake down in Monterrey, right? But I think, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, and there's a couple things here when I saw. First of all, okay, I'm tired of seeing him on his toes, trying to box like he's De La Hoya.
Square peg, don't die round.
Exactly, he's not De La Hoya, and I know he had Oscar's trainer since for a while now, Alcazar, hell of a nice guy, but that is the wrong style for this kid. Agreed. And I think, and if he's honest with himself, and if he listens to social media, or if he's paying any sort of attention to social media, or just people that are going to be honest with him, it's time to make a change, man. I think it really is time to make a change. I want to blame the strategy and also the weight cut that I think affects him later on too, because I remember you telling me he was in plastics.
3 weeks before the fight against Inoue, and then he goes into the portable sauna.
That's never a good look. Never a good look.
3 weeks before.
He's a big kid already, which, by the way, he'd be big as middleweight. As a 60, he's already still be a big kid. But I just think now, you know what? You're already a champion, so I almost put the cart before the horse when he was there. You need to make that change. I think he needs someone that is going to really bring out his best attributes, refine them, and to be able to build upon them and not try to make him this boxer outside.
Can't reinvent the wheel.
Cannot reinvent the wheel. And why it hasn't been recognized. Well, I know they've had success with it, but still, now you're at this level. I used to think him and Jared Hurd be a hell of a fight. Couldn't wait to see who wins. He don't want no part of Jared Hurd right now. I think ironically, Jared Hurd's the style that he needs to be fighting. They're essentially the kind of mirrors of each other, what they should be mirrors of each other. Pressure, smart fighters, fighting on the inside, the way they let their hands go. But he's not doing that. And I think the situation he's in is doing him a disservice. Hogan went into a very tough environment, was game and ended up rising to the occasion, and I thought did enough to win. And you know what? He merits a rematch.
Look,
poor guy. I felt bad for him.
According to Peter Khan, who's one of the advisors for Hogan, they have sent in a protest to the WBO. And let's make this clear. They're not getting the decision overturned. However, what they want is an immediate mandated rematch, and I think that's fair. Here's the thing about Munguia, and let me go back to an 80s reference.
Shocker.
College football. You can't turn Jamel Holloway, a wishbone quarterback, into Dan Marino or vice versa. And you're right. As you said, you are who you are, so you better recognize what is my ring identity, what is my philosophy, and instead of changing it, evolve that.
Exactly.
They need to work on getting him to work a lead-off jab, which would be like a sledgehammer or a battering ram to come forward.
How about just a jab?
Yeah, and then as you get closer, your head comes down and your hands come up.
Right.
And then also...
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I forgot. I don't like that chin up.
Well, it's up there like a pinata in East L.A.
It's Ryan Garcia-esque.
Yeah,
I can't believe I'm saying that.
I feel as though Candy's going to fall out one day if he faces a hard enough puncher. The other thing is, they got to understand distance and spacing. And this goes back, if Alcazar is telling him, you're an infighter. They're working so much on being on the outside. Mario, so many of his punches never have a chance to land because they're thrown out from left field.
I know. He looks winged. It makes it look amateurish. You know, Antonio Margarito did a really good job for a guy who's long and lanky like Munguia, adapting to a style that suited him best, a pressure fighter, short, which is usually for the smaller guys, right inside. But the way he pressured, and he'd sort of be ambidextrous and follow in. He'd swarm.
Yeah.
It was very effective. He didn't waste punches, and he would wear you down. From Tijuana, coincidentally, that's a style that I think would suit him best.
Mario, when I first saw Munguia a couple years ago, I looked some of his fights up on YouTube, on the Zanfer Promotions page. Some of his fights were on El Azteca. I said to myself, whoa, that's a more athletic version of Margarito. Problem is, I think what's taking place is they're trying to make him into Vernon Forrest.
Right.
No. Make him into Margarito.
An athletic version of Margarito. Exactly.
Because he's got tools. Now, the problem is, I believe he's not going to be at 54 much longer. It's kind of a break. You know why? Go back, scale back who you're going to fight. Forget all this talk of Golovkin and Canelo.
Right.
Make a decision, or you got to tell Alcazar, if you're not going to get rid of him or get a new trainer, say, Robert, do you understand what we have? This is what we should be doing. This is what we want. Either you do it or you get a new gig.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna. It's you can't ask to use one of your analogies a coach to all of a sudden come up with a whole new scheme if that's not his deal. So who knows if that's gonna? It's gonna be interesting to see what happens next steps. Because I'll tell you what, if he stays where he is, I think he's plateaued as far as his development as a fighter, and that's not good for business.
Right, because I'm with you. Every time I see him bouncing up on his feet, there's an old saying, that's pissing away vitamins.
Right.
Why? I mean,
it's unnecessary energy that you're exerting.
He's never going to do a paint job on somebody, as they say. Moving forward, this Saturday night on ESPN, pay-per-view from the famed Madison Square Garden, your main event for the WBO welterweight title, the undefeated Terence Crawford takes on Amir Khan. Look, we've always admired Amir Khan for his hubris, the fact he's almost downright delusional at times, which is kind of like a good thing as a fighter. Do you think he makes it competitive at all
Yes.
against Bud? You do.
Yes, and I do like Amir Khan. Dude, the kid's got balls. He goes in there with Canelo, with Maidana, with now Terence Crawford. He doesn't turn down fights. He puts his money where his mouth is. He accepts all these challenges, and he goes out there and actually tries to fight and win, sometimes to his detriment.
Yeah.
But he does go out there and look, his speed is something to be reckoned with. It takes you a minute to kind of figure it out. Terence Crawford, as you know, probably outside of Lomachenko, pound for pound, could be considered the best. But we're huge fans for many reasons. But I think it is competitive, and I think it is an entertaining fight. When's the last boring Amir Khan fight that you've seen?
Not many.
So I think, and he's still a young guy. Obviously, we just talked about his speed, and he's been around with his experience. And I think it's going to be a good fight. And for the first 5-6 rounds, could be very interesting.
Yeah. The problem is Terence Crawford is the greatest adapter and adjuster in the sport today. And half the time, you don't even know, are you preparing for an orthodox fighter or a southpaw? And sometimes he'll give you the first round or two to kind of decipher what's going on, and he'll slow you, pick you apart. And you're right about Amir Khan. Fast, quick, somewhat twitchy, and he's long. Problem is, Amir Khan is that really good-looking Porsche or Maserati that can go fast, has no brakes.
Right.
Does not control his speed.
You watch them
That's
corners.
the issue,
Watch them
right.
corners, you're going to hit the wall. But you know what? As a fan, that makes it exciting. It makes it fun, yeah.
Do you think Terence Crawford is under pressure because in certain respects, in terms of pay-per-view sales and performance, I believe he's competing against Errol Spence on March 16th. With that said, do you think there's pressure on him to not just beat Amir Khan, but to thoroughly dominate him?
I think Terence Crawford is the kind of fighter that's going to win by any means necessary. I don't think he's going to put pressure on himself to try to go out there and look spectacular. I think he's already got a nasty streak, and that's one of the things I like about him, that he is a craftsman. But if he's got you hurt, he's got that killer instinct to want to put you away. So I think that'll come, and I think if the situation presents itself, he'll end up with a great knockout. But I also think because he's on ESPN and that platform and the homes it reaches, you're building this star, and no one can compare or it comes close to that. So he doesn't have to worry too much about what the other guys are doing because they don't have a home like he does.
Yeah, and according to Bob Arum last week, in-studio guest of the 3 Knockdown Rule, he made it clear he will, like new addition, Mr. Telephone Man. I hope there's nothing wrong with his line. He will call Al Heyman in an effort to at least try to negotiate a showdown with Errol Spence.
He put that out there, and that was probably the most exciting thing. We got we heard a lot of fun stuff, but that as far as what's time-wise now, if he can execute that and pull that off, that'd be great that he broke that here.
And also on my personal main event, and the reason why I am glad to go 3,000 miles east alongside Jimmy's Corner is to watch a young man that I think we are sky high on. This kid has the it factor. Teofimo Lopez is on the semi-main against Edis Totley. I had a chance to talk to Teofimo before the Lomachenko fight at the Staples Center. This is what he had to say. Teofimo, tonight you are here at the Staples Center. Be honest, is this a scouting mission for a certain Ukrainian?
No, it's not a scouting. It's just to amp up the fight, just to let him know that we're here and that we're ready whenever he is. And we just enjoying some fights at the same time. So, see some people that I know that are, trying to make it to the top and things like that. But no, it's not. We're not scouting. We know who Lomachenko is and everything. So we just want to make the fans, let them know that we're trying to push for this fight.
If you should get past your fight next week in Madison Square Garden clean, when? If you had the opportunity to make the Lomachenko fight next, right in the summer, no other waiting period, no other fights in between, on your side, do you make it clear you would accept it?
Absolutely. I would accept it, but I know that what Lomachenko has offered, what he said, he wants for me to have the belt, and if I have a belt, then we'll fight. So what I have to do next is get the world title so we can make the fight happen. Apparently now I have to basically, I have to get a belt in order for us to fight, because if not, then he's not going to want to fight.
How do you read that as? Do you think he is delaying or ducking or dodging in any way?
could be a delay. Yeah, it's just delaying things. It could be all sorts of those things, man. He doesn't want the fight, and he just feels like it's just too much. There's nothing for him. He's just gonna be like, there's nothing there for him, you know. Yeah, he's fighting Anthony Crolla, and he doesn't have a title. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, there is a little bit of hypocrisy, but at the same time, it is the mandatory. I heard there's something interesting. They don't want you in the same hotel, the Lomachenko people. Is that true?
Yeah, they don't want me in the same hotel. They got to stay in at a separate hotel. And then when I went to that hotel, they apparently, I guess, Lomachenko's camp and knew about it, so he went to a different hotel.
Wow, early checkout at the end of the day. Okay, how do you interpret those actions?
I guess they spook, man. I don't know. They just don't want us around. So it's funny. People don't know, but I guess it's just funny to me, man.
You know, I know that Max Kellerman and ESPN, the camera crews, came out and trailed you for a few days during this camp in Las Vegas. Everywhere you seem to go now, I think the rest of the night you will be swarmed by various members of the media, more attention being focused to you, unlike, let's say, last year when you were just a prospect. Now you feel as though, hey, you have arrived in a lot of ways. How are you dealing with the increased attention now? Is it harder than it was, let's say, a year ago just to walk around a fight?
No, it's not hard, you know. It comes with success. It comes with all this, you know. As I perform better and do what I have to do, obviously this is only going to get more and more bigger. It's going to get the magnitude of it. So, of course, you just got to learn how to adapt and just enjoy what is coming.
Are you enjoying the process, though? Do you like it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love what I do, you know. I mean, obviously doing the interviews and everything, I could say that's a job, you know.
Yeah.
But everything else, the boxing fans, and they see me, and some even cry now.
Cry?
Yeah, because they're so, like, out of joy. They cry out of joy. So it's good.
Okay, now, wait a minute. Does that trip you out that you will bring a grown man to tears?
Nah, I didn't say anything about grown men.
Oh!
But, you know, like, interacting with the young kids and everything, and they've been doing the amateurs and everything, is just a great thing. It's a great blessing. And obviously, we're here. Top Rank told me to come out here and everything. They want us to be out here, so we said, all right, cool.
So are you convinced the next fight, after the one on April 20th, do you think that'll be for a world title?
I believe so, and I hope so. I don't see why not. That's the thing. That's the question. Like, what is it that there's the reason why I'm being delayed on fighting for the world title? I'm fighting a guy that's in the rankings. He was ranked number 3 by the IBF and everything. So that right there, it could be Richard Comey, it could be Mikey Garcia, whatever he's doing with the WBC. If he's gonna vacate it or he's gonna be still at 135, that could be could be also, because I'm number 4 in the rankings as well.
So Teofimo, final question from me. You are a growing young man, though. You're still in your very, very early 20s. There is an issue. How much longer can you keep 35? And also, given the fact that there's this variable that Lomachenko says, hey, I might actually move down, because he's figuring out these 35s are pretty big for him. What's the time frame on your reign at 135?
I heard, Bob on the 3 Knockdown Rule, what Bob said about Super Bowl, after Super Bowl and everything. And I told them exactly, give me, 2019 is my last year. If it's on after the Super Bowl, that's 2020. I already told them, I said, just to even be generous, I was like, I could probably hold it maybe. We don't even know, that's the thing. We don't even know if I could hold on to December or July.
Yeah.
Right now I'm 9 pounds over right now. It's just, which is not a lot, obviously, but it's a thing of the factor of those last couple pounds.
Those are the toughest.
It's always the toughest, but now it's a little harder because my body doesn't want to anymore. It's just like, I don't want to. Like, Teofimo, I want to move to 140 already. Like, let's just do this shit. And so, sorry for my language.
So, Mario, we know that young Teofimo is as precocious as he is talented. If you were advising him, though, and let's say he was going to absolutely listen to what Uncle Mario said.
Which is always a good thing.
Yes. Would you tell him, you know what, we don't really need Lomachenko. There's many more big fights in the future. Not that one. Not now.
Yes, I would. I'm going to tell you why. Because I think he is in a situation where he's got the best matchmakers. They know how to develop a fighter.
Yes.
With Top Rank. I trust in them, and I wouldn't want to slow down that train right now. I think he's going to be in enough tough fights and enough fights that'll continue his development. I know, look, when you're young and you're and you're full testosterone. You feel like you can take on the world, and I'm sure he thinks he'll overwhelm Lomachenko. But I would stay away from him at this point in my career. You don't need him. You don't need him. Not that I don't think he'd be competitive, because I actually think it would be a really good fight. I do, especially like a year from now.
Yeah.
But I don't think a year from now he's even in this weight class. So that's why I wouldn't kill myself to stay in this weight class when I think a year from now. It'd be different if he was going to hang out there for a while. But I think he goes to 140s, where there's also a lot of great matchups.
Well, you heard Aaron earlier on the show. He said, listen, I want to make a potential Lomachenko-Lopez fight on Super Bowl weekend, which is basically first week of February. Well, look, Teofimo's made it clear, I don't know if my body can do it past 2019, so that is a logistical timing issue.
And you don't want to go in there depleted against Loma either.
And also, should Teofimo come out clean and relatively unscathed next week or this Saturday, he's going to fight in July, headlining at the Garden. It could come against Richard Comey. That's an excellent fight.
Excellent fight, especially since Comey was supposed to fight this past weekend, but then got hurt. That's where we're really going to find out about him. And then I love that he's fighting in New York, too, because obviously where he's from and continuing to build his star, and we need more of those.
Yeah, I really believe if ESPN is looking at who is our future star post-Crawford and Lomachenko, it is the takeover, all aboard the Teofimo Express. And on this ESPN pay-per-view presented by Top Rank, I think this is a well-rounded card, Mario. I love the fact that Shakur Stevenson's taking on Pitufo Diaz and Felix Verdejo. It's now or never. He takes on Brian Vasquez. Good card.
That is going to be a good card. That's fun. Young guys, too.
Moving on to the fight review. Saturday night in Minnesota. It finally started. By the way, someone needs to tell the PBC. I get it. When a baseball game runs long, there's nothing you can do. But when you already have a 2-hour window and you've got a 10 and a 12-round fight schedule, there's no need to stick in a 6-round fight. This is ridiculous. That main event started at like 12:15 Eastern time.
Yeah, I thought you were able to sort of float fights in and out. I could see if there's early knockouts. They do.
Well, that's what you call a swing bout. You don't do it after you go the distance, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you're able to do swing bouts when it goes short, you should be able, if it goes long, to take some out.
Yeah, by the way, the main event, Buzzkill Central, Peter Quillen and Caleb Truax knock noggins. Truax with the nasty gash, so they had to wave that fight off. And Sergey Derevchenko got all he could handle from the hard-charging Jack Kolke, winning a 12-round decision. Now he becomes #1 in the IBF. And then from Atlantic City in New Jersey, your undisputed women's middleweight champion is Clarissa Shields, outpointing Christina Hammer over 10 rounds. Moving forward with the fight preview, set your DVRs, Mario, because there is actual boxing on besides the ESPN card from the Dignity Stub Depot in Carson, California. The welterweight main event features Danny Garcia against Adrian Granados. Mario, based on the track record, Garcia has a better pedigree, maybe have a little bit more talent, but Adrian Granados is not an easy night at the office. I expect a pretty good fight here.
That should be a good fight. Interesting location for that fight.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
guy from Philadelphia, guy from Chicago, and you stick it in Carson.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it since we're out here. But that's an interesting fight. Granados obviously came up short on a couple controversial calls, but I think he's a live dog. I think if he's the Granados, well, wait.
147. It's a fair fight.
It's a fair fight. I mean, I want to hope that he's a live dog, but I think it is competitive. And you're gonna obviously have to favor Danny, but I think he's a live dog.
Look, Danny Garcia, if he has one foot on the banana peel, and he just says like, I don't know if I even want to go through this fight. Granados has the type of style and temperament for a guy that doesn't want to have a full 100% commitment. He could make it very tough because he's a rough guy.
Well, the reason I thought that too is because when he fought Mauricio Herrera, where I thought he got gypped. If he has that same, he's got that same sort of motor too, Granados, and we're not in his hometown, or we're not in Puerto Rico. I think they were in Puerto Rico at that time. We're not here in L.A. So I would think Granados maybe has a little bit of the crowd more in his favor. That might play into it. The judges might get swayed. So,
well, let's face it. Puerto Ricans, they don't get a lot of support on the West Coast. Let's be honest. Your co-main on this night, heavyweights in action. Andy Ruiz, making his PBC debut, takes on Alexander Dimitrenko. Here's what the Destroyer had to say.
Andy, a new chapter for you begins in your career. You've been around a while. You've had a title shot. As you look forward now, you're with the PBC. Do you look at it as a new start almost?
Yep, exactly. I look at it as a new start, new beginning. of my career, and you know, I'm really blessed, really happy and proud, and thanks to all Heyman and PBC. I'll be fighting on April 20th on Fox Sports, Fox Deporte, at the Dignity Health Center.
You haven't been around a while, though. I mean, you've taken a long layoff. What was going on in that time? Was it just a situation with your past promoter, and was there any part of you that just wasn't motivated to box the way you wanted?
Yeah, of course. You know, the same thing that happened to Mackie Garcia happened to me. Top Rank was holding me back, but you know, I always thank them from all the years that they had me. But yeah, you know, I think that's the long layoff that I had, 7-8 months that I haven't fought, of us going back and forth with the lawyer fees, and but I'm really blessed to be happy to fight on 420.
When you are away from the sport for that long, and then you're sidelined, you see everything that's going on, did you ever find out that you do miss it?
Yeah, of course. You know, that's what kept me motivated, and it kept me hungry, but at the same time, it was good to take that little layoff and to really think what I really want, and now that I'm more motivated, I know exactly what I want, exactly what I need to do, and just stay hungry, stay motivated, and stay active.
There seems to be a lot going on in the heavyweight division. The biggest names aren't necessarily fighting each other, but they are fighting other people. Where do you see yourself in the mix at heavyweight?
Well, as soon as I get Alexander Dimitrico, first I don't want to look past him. You know, he's a good veteran, good fighter, and but I see myself in the top 10. Be fighting. The main thing is just stay active, stay motivated, and keep fighting 3-4 times this year.
You think by the end of the year that you will be in the mix for one of those belts?
Yep, I sure will. By my second fight, I sure will be back in the rankings in the top 10, and hopefully, God willing, I'll get the world title shot next year. You know,
putting aside the politics and the allegiances and the alliances that exist, you have Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and Tyson Fury. Those seem to be the
biggest guys.
Three heavyweights that really matter. If you could choose one, putting aside all the politics, which one would you like to face?
Like I said with a lot of interviews, I would like Joshua. You know, Joshua's I think he's a perfect match for me. You know, styles make fights. He's high. He doesn't have a lot of head movement, so I think with my speed and the pressure, I think it would bother him a lot.
And I've always wondered this about you. You're a naturally gifted guy. At times, people have questioned your commitment to the sport. How much do you actually like boxing? Do you love the sport? Is it something that you're good at, that you like to do because it's a good living?
You know, I came this far, a chubby little kid, coming out of nothing, and now I'm doing something, you know. Being chubby like this, it brought me this far, fighting for the world title, you know. And now if I commit myself like how I'm been doing and training hard and getting in shape, imagine what I could do. So when I was 50%, like I said, I fought for the world title. Now that I'm gonna be in 100%, sky's the limit.
Was there a realization that, look, you got your batteries recharged, you are rejuvenated, but was there a realization that, hey, I don't have forever, I still have some time, but I don't say it's now or never, but you only have one chance to really do this?
Yeah, of course. You know, it's now or never. I'm still young. I'm 29 years old. I never got hurt, thanks to God. I never really been in a big war fight because of my ability and my skills. So, you know, right now I think it's a perfect chance, perfect timing that the heavyweight division is up there. So the main thing right now is to stay focused, stay busy, stay motivated, and like I said, sky's the limit.
So, Mario, we've known Andy Ruiz for a long time. He's one of these guys, listen, as I like to say, he'll never make the cover of Muscle and Fitness.
Right, hence
Flex.
the Destroyer cracks me up as a moniker.
Maybe he eats a lot of them. Good sandwich.
Destroyer at the buffet.
Good sandwich. But I'll say this. He's relaxed, got natural hand speed, and when you see him on the mitts with Manny Robles or the pad, he can think and do and execute combinations that other heavyweights can't.
I like Andy Ruiz. I've always been a fan and root for him. He's a guy who's athletic. He lets those hands flow. He looks very natural and comfortable in there. Hopefully, if his work ethic in training
that's the problem.
Eventually catches up, then I think you got a serious player.
Yeah, I heard he's going to be right around 255, and I actually think that's a good weight. When I saw him last week at Legends Gym, look, it's all relative, and certain guys are just better when they have some meat on their bones.
Yeah.
Oh, look, do I think 280 is too heavy for him? Yeah. I think 255 is actually a pretty decent weight. And look, we all know who the elite heavyweights are. There's 3 of them. Fury, Wilder, Joshua. Then you got Big Baby Miller kind of falling behind, and who else? But I will say this, Andy Ruiz, if he has his mind right, he's a legitimate top 10 heavyweight in 2019. And on any given night, boy, he can upset the apple cart. He has real tools.
He, I think, is right in the mix in that second tier.
Next week, programming reminder, Mario, we have a very special guest that is scheduled to come in at some point by the name of Sir Edward Hearn of Matchroom Sports. So we want to preview this card, which will take place April 27th on this particular show. The World Boxing Super Series is alive and well from Lafayette, Louisiana. 140-pound semifinals, Regis Prograis takes on Kirill Relic. And then in the bantamweight semis, Nonito Donaire takes on Zolani Tete. And I had a chance to talk to both Nonito and Rachel Donaire about the World Boxing Super Series.
Nonito, let's go to the heart of the matter here. You are in the World Boxing Super Series semifinals, April 27th. You will be fighting Zolani Tete. Be honest. I'm sure you heard all the rumors, you and your wife. Was there ever any point where you thought the tournament was just going to disband and you'd have to look for another fight?
No, I didn't really feel that, I would just keep training. That's all I kept doing. I know that we did everything we had to do, and we just kind of followed whatever protocol or whatever. I was just kind of training, and I didn't really felt that anything was going to go wrong or anything like that. I mean, this is boxing,
So, throughout this time, I'd speak to your wife, Rachel, who's certainly a vital part of your career. She kept saying, Steve, don't worry about it. Everyone else is worried. We are going to be in this tournament. We've gotten paid. Everything is fine. When did you get the absolute final word that you are going to fight and your fight with Tete was going to go on as scheduled?
There was a few schedules, so we just kept training, and things fell apart, and then another schedule came in. So I just pretty much just put my trust on Richard and just take the word for it, and just said, you know what, they gave me this date, I'm just going to train for that date, and then it pushed for a couple of weeks, and I just kept training. That's pretty much what it was. It just I knew that for me, it was just more focus on just getting better in this weight class and getting back that speed all over. So even though that it was postponed or it pushed to a different date, I was okay with it because I was just gradually getting better and understanding my body in this division all over again.
Mm-hmm. Steve, just to let you know, I think it was late January, early Feb. We were told mid-April, and then it moved to late April because I don't know who it was in our in our little tournament who was not ready. There was someone who wasn't ready. I don't know who it was, but that April 13th was the first date. They weren't going to be ready in time, so they asked for an additional 2 weeks.
So, Rachel, let's go to you real fast. And I know you were one of the people that wasn't particularly worried. Let's clear up the record. You guys never had an issue getting paid like other fighters, correct? And why is that?
I think we are one of those people who are not shy in asking for what is put in black and white in print. And we thoroughly went through our contract and made sure that we abided by every single one of the conditions that were met. And when we did, I think that kind of responsibility, our part and on the part of the promoters and the WBSS, was there with any type of business relation or contract. I's need to be dotted, crossed, and we all know that a lot of the boxers just kind of put their hands in the air and say it's all on A, my promoter, B, my manager, whatever, and they really don't know who to blame. when really, like, I'm sorry, but these boxers are grown men. They're over the age of 18. I would assume most of them are literate. So read and see and ask questions and communicate. Literally all we did was, we communicated by email, and Richard was a very big, strong person in this because we communicate with him. You know this. You can call Richard on his cell phone right now and he'll answer. He is an amazing person and very, very, a very great person to have in your corner. As far as if you have questions, he will find the answers.
Well, Nonito, I think Rachel's a great example of behind every great man is a woman. So moving ahead to the fight, in your view, and you've been with other southpaws, guys like Guillermo Rigondeaux, Nonito, how difficult is Tete in your view?
Tete has a good range. He loves fighting in the range, and he's really good at what he does. And I, for me, in the experience that I've had with southpaws, I've trained to fight differently, and try to see where my flaws are, in fighting southpaws and how it can get better. So I believe that, we came up with a really good game plan with me and Kenny Adams, with Tete. Again, he's good at what he does, but he's not so good at other things aside from the things that he does.
So that was history. That's the first time I interviewed husband and wife on the 3 knockdown rule. But, Maury, all joking aside, I'm glad that this tournament did not disband. Because, I like the fights. It's been good for boxing. And once a fighter commits to a tournament, they're basically saying for the next year and a half, my life and career's in your hands, so I'm glad it's moving forward.
I love tournaments. It gives a lot of clarity. I like that this fight's in the crawfish capital of the world, Lafayette, Louisiana. Damn good food down there.
Yeah, they're not selling a lot of tickets.
I know. It's weird that because there is a fight culture. D.C., our boy D.C., Daniel Cormier, happens to be from Lafayette, Louisiana, and so they know how to fight down there. And Regis Prograis, obviously from down in those parts. I love when it's outside of the usual
casino venue.
Yes, exactly,
yeah.
Casino venue. So maybe they're not selling out, but maybe it'll create buzz for the next time, and just for the fans, I think it's a good look.
Going back to Donaire's fight against Ryan Burnett at 118 under the guidance of Hall of Fame, or should be Hall of Fame trainer Kenny Adams. Look, I know there was a bit of a freak injury with the slip disc. I thought the Filipino Flash looked pretty good at bantamweight.
I thought he did too. And I think, listen, he's had one of those careers. He hung out a lot. He hung around a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah. And still winning titles.
Yeah, so that's so it's impressive. That's a guy that does work hard and usually stays pretty disciplined. Maybe relied a little bit too much on his natural reflexes and abilities than develop, but he's in there and he puts in the work.
I thought Kenny Adams did a great thing. Instead of making him to the one-arm bandit, he actually flashed a right hand against Burnett, which I thought was pretty impressive. Moving on to final flurries. Mr. Lopez, for Magic Johnson, resigning from the Lakers the way he did, was it worse than the Magic Hour?
Cold as ice. Cold as ice.
Just a question.
He should have never had that job in the first place.
Agreed.
And, man, homie, I told Nichols the other day, I said, dang, he battled HIV for 30 years, took 9 months with LeBron, couldn't handle that. He's out of there. Dang. I mean, as a Laker fan, this really sets us back. What free agent's going to want to come?
Wasn't that his job to be the magnet to attract free agents?
This is the kind of job, the job that he had. Here's the thing. Everybody wants those titles. Nobody wants to work. Right. You got to roll your sleeves up. You got to check in the off. You got to hit the road.
There's never a day off.
There's not a day off. God bless Magic, man. Obviously one of the greatest Lakers ever, one of the greatest players ever.
Great ambassadors ever.
But that's exactly it. He's an ambassador. He's a likable guy.
But what do ambassadors really do?
But that's exactly They chill.
What do they really do?
The success of the Dodgers, come on. They just putting his face on the.
Gets a great box seat.
Exactly. He's not out there with that. Come on. Come on. So when you get to these positions, that's a real job, man. A real job requires real work.
I'm still wondering, and I'm bewildered, why was Jerry West ever allowed to leave this organization?
Oh, I would do everything to try to get him back.
I'd give him 2.5% of the franchise.
You got to give him part of the franchise to get him back. I think we're done now. This set us back because we're getting a busted LeBron. What do you think happens?
Look, I am not an NBA insider, okay? I'm not Adrian Wojnarowski. But the last thing I do is let Clutch Sports and LeBron dictate the moves. I'm
So
sorry.
you're not a fan of Ty Lue coming to coach, dude? Ty Lue coming to coach?
Look,
That'd be hilarious.
Wouldn't that be hilarious, dude?
You know,
I don't think it would hurt. LeBron, I'll tell you what, LA will turn on you too. So now,
already happening.
It's already kind of happening, right?
I didn't look, Luke Walton, I told you guys 3 years ago when he got hired, I said, look, I'm not down on it. I said, the problem was he's not bringing Steph, Clay, or eventually Kevin Durant.
Right.
I thought he got a raw deal last year when LeBron signed with the Lakers. Let's say you get a new job, and let's say another new job for you, Mario, and then you never go meet the manager or the supervisor or the producer of a TV show for the whole summer.
Not a good look.
Does that mean you're all in? I thought that was completely unfair to Luke. Now Luke's in a pretty good situation in Sacramento. For Magic, here's the thing. Your job was to recruit big-name free agent. You couldn't hold on for 2.5, 3 more months and then resign.
Well, he said he just wants to go back to having fun.
And tweeting, which I completely
I've left us high and dry, dude.
But another thing, I don't trust Jeannie as the leader of the Lakers. Look, you can no longer blame Jim Buss. She's looking like female Fredo Corleone.
What about Pelinka?
That's another guy.
Kobe's agent?
Yeah. My God. Come on.
Dude, I know. There's serious concerns.
As Michael Ray Richardson once famously said in the 80s, this ship be sinking. Speaking of sinking, famous quote.
Should be sinking.
Tiger Woods. Wow. I mean, he was bringing people to tears for a golf tournament. This guy is God.
Just because it was the trendy thing to do on social media to start praising
the competitive
homie.
praising, yeah.
Yeah, all Perkins waitresses are all fired up now. Like all your Denny's employees are look out. There was a nice moment with him and his son and with his dad. That's fine visually.
Over the top praise though.
Yeah, I mean, man, it was a bit much.
I mean, the same people that hated him for not ripping the president, not praising him, but just not ripping him.
Tweeting back and forth with the president.
That are now saying he inspired me. I mean, it's lifting. Oh God, get a grip, people.
I don't remember him being about that community.
Was he ever?
That's what I'm saying.
I remember 20 years ago the I Am Tiger Woods campaign with Nike, and the whole narrative was, boy, he's going to really, really increase urban and inner city interest in golf.
How'd that work out?
Yeah. And so, again. Oh, by the way, guys, are they sleepless in Seattle? What's going on with Russell Wilson? He looks like he has one step out the door.
Russell Wilson, the future LA Charger quarterback?
No, hold on, Justin.
I'm going to manifest that.
Does Ciara have that on the approved list of teams she wants to go to?
I've heard they want the Giants, which get him out of the NFC West. I would love it.
New York. Well, yes, that'd make a lot of sense. But as a strong second, LA. Listen, thing about Jared Goff is he's sort of an under the radar quarterback for an LA guy.
He's not going to the Rams. Seahawks will never allow that.
No, but what I'm saying is, no. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying no. Jared Goff is not going anywhere. But he's sort of a guy that he didn't captivate this town. You figured the quarterback of this town
he's a
would
beige spot on a beige
exactly.
wall.
Russell Wilson wouldn't be him and his
different.
wife. Like they'd be like Jay-Z and Beyonce
that's
out
LA.
here.
Yeah.
So
LA.
that's very appealing.
Courtside the Lakers.
Exactly for them. That's a very appealing kind of. I'm actually having dinner with the Spanoses. I'm gonna find out what's up on Friday.
Oh, by the way, Russell Wilson, when he's in LA, he works the pads with Freddie Roach. He's a somewhat regular.
Is that
member.
right?
Yeah,
he
does.
He's out there. I like, but Russell Wilson's a baller, dude.
Great quarterback.
He's a great quarterback. He's a great quarterback.
Speaking
so I
of
take him out here.
Boxing, one of the Jesse Smollett attackers won a Gold Glove tournament. Good for him.
Hey, but Jussie beat him and his brother up.
Yeah.
Cold as ice with his sandwich.
Beat him off
walking
the subway.
in. The subway made it intact to his apartment. Isn't that funny?
I wonder, is he going to turn pro?
Dude, what obviously it was a heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
Those dudes are jacked.
They are.
Those dudes are jacked.
Could be the second coming of Ike Ibiabuchi. You never know.
You know what? That reminded me of seeing those brothers you just mentioned them right now. We're going to get Coming to America Part 2, player.
Boo, hate that.
Oh, come on.
Hate that.
It's not a reboot or remake like Karate Kid. It's a Part 2.
Oh,
so I'm okay with. Yeah, it's not a remake. It's continuation. It's a Part 2. So I'm okay with it. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, you may have swung me there.
Yes, it's a continue. It's a big difference.
Yeah,
big difference. Kind of like what was the other one they were doing? It was a reimagining, not a remake. Or was that another?
Oh, some kids movie.
Oh, it was a Cinderella one.
Yeah.
Cinderella. That's,
Okay,
was it
that
Cinderella?
one.
It's
Okay, but
Cinderella.
hold on.
Cinderella?
hold
Okay,
on.
okay.
Will
So-
part 2 have both Eddie and
Yes.
Arsenio?
It's part. Yes, it's a continuation.
Okay, save me a seat at the table.
Yeah, see, now you like
might
it.
be
Now
in on
you
that
now
one.
you wanted
My-
it. I don't know why those guys reminded me of that.
Yeah, and I also want who's that actor? The one that got caught trying to rob McDowell. Samuel Jackson. That was like one of his first roles.
I don't know if Samuel Jackson will be making a comeback. Samuel
Well-
Jackson made like 200 films since
Well,
then.
that's my point. I want to see him coming back 30 years later after his jail bid.
Yeah, no, I'm
as a
saying I don't know if
reform-
we'll see him again.
Yeah. Mario, this is the greatest combination on Sunday since Rodney O and Joe Cooley. Billions and Game of
Oh
Thrones.
my God,
Okay,
Sunday hasn't been this cool
ever.
ever. Okay, I got in a little
Okay,
late
so
last
that's
Sunday
my
night.
question. What do you do first? Billions,
come
Game
on,
of
dude.
Thrones, or Game of Thrones and Billions?
You got to do Game of Thrones
No,
first. We've been
I-
waiting 2 years. You're crazy.
I go
We've been
billions.
waiting
I
2
go
years.
I go
for
billions. I go billions.
Dude, come on. That's just because you're.
It started earlier. That's why.
Well, what are you talking about? You can see it as early as 6 o'clock out
No,
here.
no. But I'm talking about the season started. So
Oh, the seasons. I
so
understand.
the momentum is building already.
No, I go GOT. I
Wow.
go GOT, and I had a bit of a DVR issue, so I was getting kind of pissed yesterday.
Hey, no
but I ended
spoilers,
up coming
guys.
out.
No spoilers.
Oh, we're not. We can't give spoilers. It's already came out. Everybody,
No. It's too
come
big of a show.
on.
Too big of a show.
Yeah.
What are you talking
don't
about?
wanna
It's
piss
like you
people
go all over
off.
social media. It's everywhere. You should be able. Screw that. We should be able to talk about it.
So fans in the UK, I just want to let you know I'm looking out for you. Mario doesn't care, so go
we
ahead.
are gonna talk about it. Come on, everyone's. It's the most popular show. A billion people watched
So
it.
did you like the first
Literally a billion people.
Yeah.
So we're talking
Wow.
about
Yeah.
it. You don't think there's spoilers with a billion people talking about it? Too damn short. We wait 2 years and the episode's
It's like-
52 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Too damn short. I liked all the reunions. How Bran Stark though chilling in the yard.
Yeah.
Everybody's freezing. He's
Yeah.
chilling. I'm waiting for a friend of mine.
Man.
What did he say?
The
Something along
look
those
that they
lines?
gave each other.
When Jamie Lannister showed up.
Awkward.
Yeah, I know. My favorite line though had to be when Cersei said something
Oh.
along the lines like, "If you want to,
Whore.
you can just buy a whore, but you have to earn a queen." And then
10 minutes later.
5 minutes later,
Smash.
she's hooking up with him and smashing.
Smash.
That was the best.
Smash.
That was the best. Did you have a favorite line?
I have a particular gripe. You know I'm going to go there.
Shocker.
Okay. When you ride a horse, like even on the show, everyone has a saddle, right? And it's hard to hang on.
You talking about the dragon?
Now, the dragon thing just kind of bugs
He's a
me.
Targaryen, dude.
and I kinda get it.
Targaryens only ride dragons.
You're telling me
They can
that you've never ridden a dragon.
You
the
don't know
way
how to ride a
Jon
dragon
Snow
until you
did.
ride a dragon.
Right, and then Jon Snow, I was afraid for him. I thought he was going to get thrown off, but I'm thinking to myself,
Danny didn't care.
I'm like, can we? Let's just. I know I get.
Oh,
I
the
get
little never-ending story-ish, right?
Yeah, like I know it's a fantasy
Can
world.
I give you my theory
Well-
of what's going to happen? I'm going to get real nerd on you.
Uh-oh.
Can I give you my theory?
Yes, please do.
Tell me if you're with me
Yeah.
with this. Okay, here's the deal. They established that little dragon riding scene with
Yeah.
Jon Snow
Yeah.
because he's a Targaryen. They wanted to show you that he's a Targaryen that can ride a dragon, okay?
Right.
Now, when the Night King left that little symbol,
Yeah.
it was a Targaryen type symbol,
Right.
right? And then remember the Night King was also riding a dragon.
Yes.
And so I think the Night King is a Targaryen that's coming back to take his rightful place on the
Ooh.
Iron Throne. Is that too crazy?
Wow.
Is that good?
Boy, you went 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon on that one.
Right?
I mean,
Do you not like that?
Yeah.
I'm thinking the Night, because you're not supposed to be able to ride the dragon unless you're Targaryen. He was able to ride the dragon. Remember, he was a soldier
Yeah.
before he became the Night King.
Right, but
Just,
okay.
just bear with me. I'm just thinking, if it turns out that way, I want full props at the end of the
The
season.
other storyline is Khaleesi and Jon Snow look like they're gonna hook up.
Once you know that's your aunt, you can't
Yeah, that's
continue
my
to
point.
you can't continue to bang your
Does
aunt.
that
dude. I'm sorry.
become kind of like the Luke Skywalker Princess Leia thing?
You
It turned
can't
out- yeah.
continue. I know you probably continue, but I couldn't
Oh,
continue.
would you stop? So, how many episodes are in this season? The final season?
6.
That's it.
That's it. But
Okay,
the last two
well,
or the
okay.
last 3, I think, are like an hour and a half.
No,
so-
no.
There's a few 2 hours, I think.
No,
Ooh.
it's the next one. By the way, is only like 56 minutes. So I'm already upset.
Mark, do you
But
think
then they're like an hour and 20, then 2 hours after that. or
with the
something like that.
popularity of the show, like Bob Arum has a
They're doing a prequel. You know, they're
Ye-
doing a prequel series.
They are.
Yes, like
Interesting.
10,000 years before. It's how they became Night Walkers and all that, or White Walkers and all that.
This is interesting. We got to get into it with Bob Arum for his Chapter 3 visit. Bob only watches shows after the season is basically done, and he binges them all at one time.
Very progressive
That's
for an
what he does.
old-timer.
Yeah, seriously.
Right?
He literally will say, on this weekend, I'm going to knock out 3 shows with Lovey. That's what he does.
I would love that.
With the show that's as popular, with all the spoilers out there, could you do it with Game of Thrones?
Well, I don't think Bob's over there combing social media.
Yeah,
either.
no,
I
but
think
but,
when you're
but a guy
Bob's
like
age-
you and me, I'd be driven nuts.
There's a few shows out there that I'm waiting to binge just because there's an abundance of shows.
Yeah.
The one on Hulu,
Handmaid's Tale?
Yes, Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I've heard that's excellent.
Right.
I'm gonna binge that. You don't like it, Holmes? Come on. It's super slow.
Tino,
Tino needs explosions every 2 seconds. And what are you,
Tino
like a
the
Michael
TV.
Bay fan
Yeah.
over there? I'm hearing great things though, so I got to give it a chance. Another one I got to see is Escape from Dannemora.
Oh, okay.
The
I've
one
heard good
remember
things. I've
the
heard good
true
things.
story? I've heard nothing but great things about that. It's only like 6 episodes.
Chernobyl looks good. The previews, that looks good.
I haven't. Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
but there's some that I've already aired that I think are supposed to be good, so I'm looking forward to checking those out.
by the way, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but Billions, what a season.
Well, no, I'd seen. I'm caught up until last night.
Yeah,
other than
no,
last
but
night.
last night, wow. That's all I'm going to say.
Dude, I love that show. That's my favorite show
I mean,
right now,
Axe-
other than Game of Thrones just coming
Axe
back.
and Rhodes, wow.
Chuck together, I want them to team up so bad.
They are like Run DMC. No, that's kind of happening. Just need a Jam Master J.
Now they
God
got
rest his
rid.
soul.
Okay, I'm not going to ask any questions.
Yeah, anymore. All right, next week, again, we are eagerly anticipating the arrival of Eddie Hearn. How good was Bob Arum last week,
Bob
though?
Arum was fantastic. We look forward to having him yet again. Eddie Hearn is not one to be shy.
He's going to bring heat. He's going to bring heat.
This will be his second appearance. First in studio.
Yeah, he was our only phone interview, by the way.
Right. Well, he's over in the UK across the pond, so we cut him aside. But he's going to have a lot to say. We're going to have a lot to ask.
People went nuts for Bob.
And by the way, we have an Instagram account that we're kind of reviving through Tino. It is at the number 3 Knockdown Rule. At 3 Knockdown Rule.
At 3
pictures,
Knockdown Rule.
clips. Also, if you want to order like a mug, look at this mug right here. Look at what a great looking mug. Both of our mugs.
It's a handsome
go
mug.
to 3knockdownrule.com. Get shirts, hats, hoodies, sweaters.
That's right.
All sorts of shirts. Again, 3knockdownrule.com.
Your
So
boxing,
again,
street cred, and swag will go next level.
absolutely. So again, next week we have a lot to talk about with Sir Edward Hearn if we can make the schedule.
Looking forward to it.
All right, so that's it for this week's edition of the 3 Knockdown Rule. On behalf of Mario Lopez and Justin Buffalo Knuckles, I'm Steve Kim saying goodbye, everybody.